Hello, I'm glad you're here. Thanks to TheBOSS, now for the first time we can not only create a protocol for starting a new client very effectively, we now have the means in the form of a software package called, of course, TheBOSS to support us in actually effortlessly, efficiently, and dependably following that protocol. A protocol is a structured procedure that we think out and purposely designed to achieve an intended or desired result. A successful protocol is very teachable and doable. I'll show you some actual protocols in a little bit. To create a protocol, we look at the best practices of leaders and incorporate those best practices into our own protocol. This is an example of a protocol we recommend for a new drinker, and we'll talk more about that shortly too. You can use a protocol like this for your own business. We recommend having a protocol for everything you do, like piquing interest, presentations, enrolling people, and especially for long-term existing customers. Having a good protocol combined with a powerful package like TheBOSS results in an unprecedented effectiveness and efficiency, and that's what we'll demonstrate in this video. I'll show you how TheBOSS can support you in keeping a follow-up protocol. In this video, we'll look at specifically how TheBOSS can track and support a new client through his first days. Just for fun, I'm going to make up a story about a guy named Fred. I'm making it up that we just met tonight at a Chamber of Commerce dinner. We had a great conversation, and I felt we really bonded. I have a bad memory, so before I leave the dinner I'm going to step into the men's room and make some written notes. Next I'm going to run home and put all that information into TheBOSS's memory while it's still fresh in my memory. TheBOSS has a much bigger and better memory than I do. Now I'd like you to finally meet TheBOSS. This is what TheBOSS screen looks like. I'm just going to cover some of the basic moves for now. You'll see that TheBOSS is not complicated to operate. I might add that TheBOSS is a full-featured system, so there is a lot more to it. Please look at some of the other how-to videos available on our website for a more detailed description of this screen and many of the other features in TheBOSS. First, I'm going to just press F3 to open up a new contact record and start entering Fred's information. Here goes. So I'm going to just start filling in things on the contact screen, and I'm going to begin with the first name field. His first name is Fred. I just press enter and I go to the next field. His last name is Quimby. I go to the next field. I can either tab to advance or press enter. His partner is Alice, and Alice is his wife, so I want to make a note of that. I did not get his home number, office number, but I did get his cell number, which to me is the more important of the numbers because he always carries that with him. And I can press enter to get over here to his email. And I didn't get his address or anything like that because it's unusual that I would need that in the beginning. This line is going to be filled in by Noni Office when he does become a distributor, and I'm going to go over here to the notes section and start filling that in. So I'm in the notes section now, and I'm going to start filling in some of my notes. So one thing that Fred told me was that he wants the financial freedom that I talked about, and I make a lot of abbreviations when I make notes. So FF to me is financial freedom. Fred has a big student loan he'd like to pay off. He has credit cards. He wants travel. He has high blood pressure, joint pain, and he's tired. I'm going to go to the next line, and his occupation is that he's a bored bank teller. His son is Bill. Daughter is 13 is Emily. And his father has prostate cancer. He likes golf and fishing, and he has a lab named Bruce. And that's all the information that I want to save on him, so I'm going to press save here and watch what happens. Notice the boss formatted the phone numbers with dashes. So when you're entering phone numbers, you just type the numbers on your number pad and you don't have to worry about the dashes. Notice that the country that I left blank before was filled in by the boss. Up here, notice that the time there was calculated. This is the time and day that it is at the contact's location. I'm on the west coast and Fred was on the east coast. The time there would be 3 hours later, or 6:39. It would also say +3 here instead of 0, because there's a 3-hour difference. This means you will never call somebody again at 4 a.m. in the morning. This is a very handy feature if your contact lives in Japan or Australia. Before I do anything else, I'll pause for a minute and look at the record I just created and make sure it's all there. I want it all to be clear so that in a year from now, I'll be able to look at this record and know what it all means. If I'm sharing this copy of TheBOSS with another caller, I should make sure that we both use and understand the same abbreviations. I spent a lot of time entering everything I could remember about Fred. I think of it as my investment in my relationship with Fred. Remember, network marketing is all about relationships and caring. In future calls, I'll have lots of subjects to talk about with Fred. All these notes will always be available. Next time I talk to Fred, I'll just intuitively look around the screen and find something interesting to talk about, like, "Oh, how's your wife Alice?" Or, "Oh, how's your dog Bruce?" Or, "How are you feeling about financial freedom right now?" Is your job any more exciting than it was before? I'll tell you, Fred will be totally amazed at my thoughtfulness and my extraordinary memory. By my taking an interest in Fred personally and by me keeping my word every time there's something to be done, I expect that we will have a relationship of trust and respect that should last a very, very long time. Of course, I won't tell Fred that my boss helps me remember all this detail and helps me keep my word. I also won't tell him that I'm working with hundreds or even thousands of other people with the same level of intimacy, precision, and detail. As time goes on, I'll keep adding to these notes and keep them current. When I saved Fred's new record, the bottom half of this screen opened up. This is the action portion of the screen. It allows me to keep track of what actions I do with Fred. I'll be able to see the last 10 actions at one time on this screen. If I want to see more than 10 actions, I can view or print a list of all the actions by looking at a call log. By the end of this video, you will see how this list of actions will tell the complete story of Fred. Now I'm ready to start filling in Fred's action line here. This is Fred's first action line. To start doing this, I click anywhere on the gold part of the screen, like right here. When I click, this list of actions pops up. This is a list of the types of actions I can do now. These are described in detail in the manual and also in another video. I'll choose this first one because follow-up is just what I want to do. I want the boss to remind me to follow up. I want to follow up in 1 day. So I'm going to enter a 1 here and press enter. Notice that the who made the call is automatically filled in with my initial because I'm the one who started calling. Notice that the date of call over here is May 1st, today. Also notice that the call date and day up here is May 2nd, Saturday, and this is correct. I want the boss to remind me to call Fred tomorrow. Now I'm going to fill in the comment. I piqued interest at the chamber meeting. I'm going to remind myself to see my own notes. and the presentation is what is next. When I press enter, the boss will schedule Fred's record to pop up on the correct date, which is tomorrow. I will then move on to the next contact that needs attention. And here it is. This is the next action for me to do. And this is how the boss works. I just keep dealing with what pops up until I'm current. You can see how I'm always purely focused on activities that will build my business. It's concentrated, efficient, and effective. There's no fooling around, and it's all business. On day 2, or Saturday, May 2nd, when Fred's screen pops up, I review it and create my vision of what I want to have happen on this call. I want to further our relationship, so I'll start with some small talk. I want to deepen Fred's idea of financial freedom, so I'll tell him about some of my travels. I want to ask him to promise to watch the video that we've already discussed. I'm going to ask him how long it's going to take him to watch the video and when we should follow up. All the while, I want to intend enrollment. When I feel ready, I'm going to click on dial right down here and watch the boss dial the telephone for me. I heard the boss dial the phone, and we talked about what I planned to talk about. I did a follow-up for one day, which brings us to Sunday, May 3rd, and entered this comment summarizing what we talked about. Bruce is fine. Fred is experiencing a little joint pain, is a little tired from working all week. We talked about financial freedom and the lifestyle that I have. He's going to watch the video tonight, and I'm going to call him in the morning. I have a schedule of times that I work, so I know I'll be calling tomorrow morning, so I can just trust the boss to remind me to call tomorrow morning. I sped ahead and filled in the first 10 days of actions with Fred. Fred's story goes from the bottom up. Notice that the dates start with the first and go up. We already talked about the first 2 lines, so let's begin with the 3rd line. Fred was excited. He wants to be both a drinker and a business builder. Since Fred was so excited about everything, I felt it was important to get him a bottle and get him started with some other material. So I delivered it, and I had the opportunity to meet Alice. Notice at the top, since I went to his house, I got his address and other phone numbers and filled them in. With every contact, with all my business partners, I'll gently go over all the protocols, the new drinker protocol, the new drinker agreements, the business builder protocol, the personal development protocol. We also covered the concept of optimal dosage. We wrote down his current health conditions as a benchmark and wrote down his health goals. I gave him a form for this, and we each have a copy. At the end of his agreed-to 90-day trial period, we'll look at the results and see if he wants to continue. Now let's go to the 4th line. Monday. Fred now has everything he needs to get started. We did a 3-way with headquarters, and so that he got off to a good start. He wants to be on case auto ship, and we focused on drinking and ideas about the business, and he's going to hire the boss tonight, and we'll start installing it tomorrow. Fred did hire the boss, and I went in with GoToMeeting and helped him import his new address book. I also showed him some of the basics on how to let the boss feed him one new contact at a time from his imported address book. Since this is Fred's first day drinking, we went over the drinking instructions once again. On day 6, we just had fun, and he noticed more energy either because of the fun we had or because of the juice. It doesn't really matter. On day 7, we practiced answering questions and his elevator speech. Today was his 4th day, so according to the protocol, he should be half done with his first bottle, and he was. I don't think I'll have to worry much about Fred, but I will use the boss to check him according to our protocol. You remember that, don't you? On day 8, we made 5 3-way calls from his imported address book. Notice the action on this was A for appointment, because we have a 10 o'clock appointment for my go-to-meeting PowerPoint presentation, which should be very good. On day 9, we had a good meeting. John enrolled and Sarah became his new drinker. On day 10, we review the protocols, and he's reporting new mental clarity, and he will be using TheBOSS to follow up with his new people. Having protocols for everything you do and having TheBOSS to help you implement them is very effective. Effective means our actions have the highest probability of producing the intended or desired result. It also means that the results are in operation and are functioning. Everything happening or not happening in your business is a result. All results are measurable by TheBOSS. TheBOSS will measure conversion rates for piquing, presenting, and enrolling. TheBOSS will also show you the numbers for case authorship participation and duplication patterns. TheBOSS offers specific things for you to do about any aspect of your business that you're not happy with. The purpose of measuring or quantifying what is happening in your business is threefold. First, to identify the gap between our actual performance versus what the potential is. This gap represents a lot of money we unknowingly leave on the table. TheBOSS can identify the potential size of the gap. We can never close the gap unless we both know that it is there and also know the severity of the gap in terms of the money that it is costing us. The rule is, if it's costing us enough, we'll do something about it. Second, TheBOSS uses numbers to locate weak spots and bottlenecks in our business so we can take action to improve ourselves and our bottom line. Third, TheBOSS offers tools, technologies, and procedures to close that gap. So please, go here to hiretheboss.info and let's get started today.